All right, guys, what's going on? Hope you've had a great day. Hope you're doing good. Back with another Summer Wells video. Like I said, I'm going to be covering the Summer Wells case again, just because, you know, it's, I guess it's kind of like burdening my heart, and just I want to talk about it. I don't know. Just thinking a lot about it lately, and some other factors also, but and one of the things that really bothers me about the Summer Wells case when I stop and reflect on it is the fact that I know what I know, and of course, well, I should say not only me, but several people know what we know, and there have not been any repercussions on anybody that is responsible for Summer's disappearance or may have contributed to her disappearance. Not one repercussion on anybody other than, you know, Dawn and Candace losing the rights to their kids. But I mean, and Dawn getting put in jail over a DUI, but that had nothing to do with Summer Wells, right? So that's why it's so hard for me to talk about the case and all that stuff, because it's just, you know, knowing what me and several people know, and for there not to be any repercussions to anybody directly associated with her disappearance, or anybody that had, like, you know, a secondary thing involved in it or whatever. There's just nothing. So it really bothers you. So what I'm going to talk about tonight is Ben Hill Road. Ben Hill Road. In my opinion, Ben Hill Road was a cesspool of drugs, alcohol, and sex. And that last one, the sex, that's what really bothers me about this whole Ben Hill Road thing, because I've heard some pretty bad stuff that supposedly went on up there. All right, and we'll be covering where that come from, and, you know, all that stuff later on in the week, or later on. But you know, as far as Ben Hill Road and the Beach Creek community, I really believe not many people knew what was going on at Ben Hill Road, just for the fact that it's a small dead-end road with homes hidden in the woods. I mean, if you take a look at Dawn and Candace's house, you can't hardly see it from the road, right? Especially, you probably can't even see it at all in the summertime because of the foliage. Jody Sue's house, cabin, whatever they lived in up there. I mean, if you didn't really know, I mean, you probably had a driveway, but other than that, hell, you probably couldn't even see it from Ben Hill Road in the summertime, right? So I don't think a lot of people in the community of Beach Creek, other than people associated with what was going on Ben Hill Road, knew really how bad things were on Ben Hill Road. And that's just my opinion, you know. And I don't think it wasn't until after Summer Wells went missing, and then we heard all the bad stories coming out. And boy, did we hear some bad stories. And what bothers me the most is those stories involve kids allegedly from someone that we're going to talk about later on in the week. And again, no repercussions at all on anybody. But not only from Hunter's family. I mean, we heard some pretty nasty stuff, not only from Hunter's family, right? Y'all remember that interview JLR and them done with Hunter's family, and they said some pretty sick stuff about maybe what they were doing to Summer, and but not only did we hear that from Hunter's family, we heard it also from someone who even lived on Ben Hill Road. Now, if that doesn't speak volumes, I don't know what does. And again, that is why it bothers me to this day that there have not been any repercussions on anybody in this case. Anybody. Now, I have to say, Ben Hill Road today is probably nothing like it was 3 years ago. I mean, I bet the Department of Children's Services, I bet the Department of CPS, they're not up there much at all, if any now, right? Where right before Summer went missing, it was probably, CPS was probably on Ben Hill Road more than Dawn and Candace went to church. Which is a bad thing. That's a sad thing. That right there, if that's true, that is a sad fact right there. I hope it ain't true, but if it's true, that's a damn sad fact right there. But yeah, I'd say the Department of Children's Services. Matter of fact, I'd say since the kids were moved from that place up on Ben Hill Road, I'd say CPS really, according to what we witnessed on YouTube and this and that, they probably had no reason to go back up to Ben Hill Road. They probably just like, okay, well, we get to watch their progress on YouTube, which ain't no progress, you know what I mean? Your kids get taken away, and, if I was a CPS worker and, I clock in at, I got, probably, well, salary, they're probably salary, but you get into the office in the morning, and I'm over the case of the Wells children, and I was like, well, I know, Dawn and Candace have been acting a fool on YouTube lately. Let me get on here, youtube.com. Let me type in Summer Wells or Dawn and Candace on YouTube, and oh God, there's a new video of them out there. What's it say? Dawn and Candace drunk, possible domestic. Oh wow, Dawn possibly hitting what? I mean, that's probably how it went for the CPS worker over the Wells case. I mean, all they had to do was log on to YouTube and just witness the stupidity, the violence. That's all they had to do. They didn't have to go to Ben Hill Road and talk to Dawn and Candace. All they had to do was get on YouTube and type in Dawn and Candace. And they're like, I mean, it probably wouldn't take them 30 minutes, and they'd be like, well, yeah, they're definitely not trying to get their kids back. All they had to do was watch YouTube. And the other thing, the last thing I want to leave you with, and I got to thinking about this because everybody was like, where's everybody at now? And what's everybody doing? And I got to thinking about Don and Candace, and I thought, well, I'm not sure what Don and Candace are doing, but if they're still up on Ben Hill Road, I'm sure they're not like the most popular people in that community right now. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure the police still, to this day, have that area on their radar, if you know what I mean. And I'm pretty sure 3 years ago, Beach Creek didn't want the feds, and who knows, who knows what other, maybe the DEA was all up in that community. But Beach Creek 3 years ago didn't want the feds and the DEA all up in that community. But thanks to Don and Candace, they caused it. So that's what I'm saying. I bet Don and Candace are not the most popular people in the Beach Creek community right now. I'd say, like I said, I'm sure I don't know about the local police, but, I'm sure that community, especially right there where Ben Hill Road is, which you've got to go through Beach Creek to get to Ben Hill Road. That community is we mind our own business, and most communities like that. They don't like outsiders. They like to mind their own business, do this and that. And as long as they're not hurting anybody, unlike what was going on Ben Hill Road allegedly, life is great. But when you go and do the stupid shit that you were doing on Ben Hill Road, and it's just a matter of time. What do you think? The cast from Sesame Street was going to walk up in there when Summer went missing? Did you think the damn Muppets were going to walk up in there? The Smurfs? Do you think Disney on Ice was going to come up in that community? Hell no. And then once all these nasty stories start getting told, I'm sure there's people up in Beach Creek that really don't like the Wells right now. I'm surprised Don and Candace hadn't moved off. Really surprised. Because they put a bullseye, on Ben Hill Road, which is in Beach Creek, and that's to this day, I guarantee you, it's still on certain organizations within law enforcement. I'm sure it's on their radar. And I know Beach Creek don't want that. Hell, probably Ronnie Lawson don't want that. You know what I mean? Probably Ronnie Lawson was probably in good graces with them. But, they're probably, damn, Ronnie, can you do something? I swear we keep seeing like DEA agents going up and down. We know it's the feds. Get their asses out of here, And you see what I'm saying. But Ronnie Lawson can't do nothing about the feds. Ronnie Lawson can't do nothing about the DEA. Ronnie Lawson's just a little old $70,000 a year sheriff with no budget. That Sheriff's Department, I mean, the only revenue they really bring in is speeding tickets and seatbelt tickets. It's about all the revenue they bring in. Like really. I mean, if someone was arrested in the Summer Wells case, what kind of revenue is that going to bring in, right? You know what I mean? I mean, if anything, they're going to have to spend money on the prosecutor. I mean, the state would pick up the tab, but I'm just saying, hell, even the DA, what's his name, Dan Armstrong, he probably gets paid peanuts up there. I'm sure the salary budget for that district that Dan Armstrong covers probably ain't much. He probably don't make much more than Ronnie Lawson, to be honest with you. And that's not saying much when you're a district attorney. A district attorney ought to be making 6 figures plus, you know what I mean? Well, definitely 6 figures. 100 or at least, I'm sure a district attorney in Nashville probably makes like $250,000 a year. Dan Armstrong in his old district, he probably makes like $80,000 a year. He's probably doing good to make $100,000 a year. And you wonder why there's a lack of prosecution in a lot of cases, right? You wonder why the TBI has to do all the work. You wonder why the FBI has to do all the work. Where's your answer? There's your answer, guys. So anyway, that's all I got for you. It's what's on my mind, my opinions, my thoughts on not Beach Creek, but Ben Hill Road. That's my thoughts on, the unintended traffic that Don and Candace and all them up there on Ben Hill Road has brought Beach Creek. There's people that's left Ben Hill Road. There's people that have left at Beach Creek. But guess what? Their actions have resulted in stuff that has remained in Beach Creek to this day, 3 years later. Oh, you can pack up and move and go live in an RV on mommy and daddy's property, but the damage is done. The DEA and the feds are going to be up in Beach Creek probably till summer's found. And guess what? You've packed your shit up and left, and now they have to deal with the consequences. That's what I'm saying, guys. People on Ben Hill Road are probably not, well, some people on Ben Hill Road are probably not the most popular people in that community right now. They're probably not liked at all. So anyway, let me know what you think about my thoughts and opinions. Again, it's real hard to talk about the Summer Wells case knowing that there's not been any repercussions on anybody in this case at all. Hearing the horror stories that we've heard from people that, knew people on Ben Hill Road, and also from people that have lived on Ben Hill Road. That's what makes it so bad. No repercussions at all. Do I think it's true on a lot of stuff that was said going on up there? Hell yeah, I do. They never thought they'd get caught. You know what I mean? Dead end road, houses surrounded by woods. That's what I think. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Drop in comments below. Appreciate all the donations to help support the channel. Appreciate it, guys. Y'all take care, and I'll see you on the next video.